MSC, and to me, it's just an amazing concept because we are member owned. We're not for profit, right? So as we're scaling, as we're getting more and more efficiencies, we're driving the added benefit through adding tools for that cost or driving down cost. There has been cost reductions just as we have been getting more and more coverage on different products to where we can get better deals, better licensing, pricing. So it's really neat from my side to deal with all the individual members and their companies. One of the things I loved when I had my MSP was being on the team of all of these different companies, right? With an MSP, we're dealing with many different end user clients. And now I work very closely with all of our members, people, operations, sales, owners, and it's really just a fun thing on my side to be able to leverage these tools, do it in a cost-effective way for your clients because I know most of these clients don't have much of an IT budget, let alone a security budget. So we're constantly looking at how can we deliver the power security outcomes. It's all about outcomes and provide that big bang for your buck, that high value cost versus benefit, and so that we can roll that out to better protect all of your clients at a cost-effective way.
We're just going to run through a quick presentation, just letting you know how our SentinelOne platform powers security outcomes. We see that endpoint is one of the main parts of security that you need, and just some stats to back it up, right? 53% of organizations were hit by a successful ransomware attack in 2021. The crazy thing is 23% of those were hit actually more than once. Also, you see that 200% growth of ransomware related attacks from 2021 to 2022, and it's only just a matter of time with this year ending to see what that number is going to look like from 2022 to 2023, because as Chris mentioned, there were some big ones out of Las Vegas this year. Those were some of the bigger ones, and they're just continuously increasing. So with SentinelOne, we understand that our XDR security platform starts first and foremost with our endpoint solution, right? So we took a strategic approach to build a best-in-class endpoint product that uses technology and depends less on the manual processes and procedures, right? So our technology has stood up to many third-party tests, including being the best in yearly MITRE evaluations, at least for the last 4 years. And one of the things that makes us really special is that we support a wide range of operating systems, right? Including ones that are end of support. We are still out there to be able to protect those OSs, because we know that just because something goes end of support doesn't mean that it's no longer in use, right? There's certain applications that still depend on some of these old OSs, and it's very difficult to get rid of some of them. So we support many Windows OSs, even going back to Windows 7 with our fully capable agent, and even going further back to Windows XP with our legacy version of our agent. And in addition to our wide range of supported OSs, some other key features that sets us apart are our UI was built from the ground up with MSPs and MSSPs in mind. You'll be able to see this with our multi-tenancy in various parts of our product, from looking at incidents to role-based access control. Multi-tenancy is built throughout of our product in order to be able to be very easy to use for our MSP and MSSP partners. And our technology is one of the most advanced, capable technologies out there. So we can catch some of the most advanced attacks, even zero-day attacks. We don't rest on our laurels, right? It's something that we continuously invest in and continuously upgrade as we see more and more different tactics and techniques being used by the attackers today. And then lastly, going above, we also not only invest heavily in our detection and prevention, but also in remediation capabilities. So with just a click of a button, you can remediate a machine while it's still in place without needing to pull that machine to re-image that machine. But also going a step further, we're also able to give you the ability to roll back a machine if it is encrypted somehow, maybe by ransomware, or if you have a disgruntled employee try to delete a bunch of files before they leave, we'll still be able to roll back that machine in order to get you back access to those files. We are a security platform, so we are adding additional capabilities outside of just endpoint. One of those being our Ranger Insights capability. Ranger Insights includes a network visibility and surface control component. This is where our agents will actually scan around themselves to give you visibility into what's on your network. And we'll also fingerprint those devices so you know exactly what's on your network. So you can see a phone sitting next to a very critical server and possibly, remediate that by getting that out of there. But also, if there are possible rogue devices that you do see with this added capability, you'll be able to isolate those rogue devices from your Sentinel-1 protected devices in order to keep them safe from being attacked by possible rogue devices. Then lastly, the other part of Ranger Insights is to deliver continual visibility into vulnerabilities. So this will not only give you third-party vulnerabilities, but also OS-level vulnerabilities, and also adds threat intelligence on top of these vulnerabilities to help you with prioritizing which vulnerabilities you want to patch first. All right, so I was able to let you know a little bit of why S1 is not only a leader in the space today, but we're not resting on our laurels, and we're continuously going to improve and make our security platform even better in order to handle many of the threats that we're seeing today and the threats that are going to be coming tomorrow. Are an agent on the endpoints, we're able to detect those vulnerabilities. So we highlight the vulnerabilities by basically looking at, what type of machine it is. So with our agent, we're able to see, okay, is it a Windows workstation? Is it a server? What type of machine it is? And then we map that for third party, we map those applications that we scrape off that endpoint. We map those to the NVD database, but we also have a partnership with a patching a company in which we're able to use their vulnerability database as well. And with that, now we're able to do continuous vulnerability management and monitoring. And that's how we're able to get those OS level vulnerabilities as well. And then on top of that, we add third-party threat intelligence to that. So not only will you see, okay, this is a low, medium, high critical vulnerability, but you'll also be able to see, okay, there's an exploit for this. This is being exploited in the wild. It is a low complexity to do this. It doesn't involve human interaction. So those are the added threat intelligence that we add to the vulnerabilities in order to allow you to prioritize those vulnerabilities a little bit better. AI plays a major role in our solution. Even before AI became this big buzzword, that is something that we relied heavily on because we know that depending on technology is a little bit better than having to depend on a lot of human driven processes and procedures. So even part of our remediation capabilities depend on that, as well as our behavioral detections depends on AI as well, with our storyline technology built under that. Ranger capabilities include both of the capabilities that I talked about earlier. So Ranger Insights includes both Ranger, the network capability that I was talking where we'll scan the network to give you additional visibility into what's on your network, but also it includes that vulnerability prioritization aspect as well. So with us, the rollback capability, their agent, first and foremost, before that rollback capability is already known to be a heavy agent. So now when they try to add that rollback capability that they have, it pretty much makes the agent even heavier and sometimes borderline unusable. Whereas we don't have that issue because we utilize a built-in Windows functionality through a patented technology. So we don't have to add that extra storage onto our agent in order to do that rollback capability. Also, our detection and prevention capabilities, as mentioned before, is just pretty much a lot better as seen in third-party testing, right? Just not only coming from us. If you look at some of the third-party testing, our results compared to theirs, you'll be able to see that just some of their detection and prevention capabilities aren't able to keep up with some of the advanced attacks up to date.
The other nice thing, as people think that they can buy a product, just put it in and they're good to go. We deal with so many different unique environments through the MSC that allows us to see quite a bit. Callback phishing has been huge. And how many have whitelisted whatever their remote access tool is, because that's the easier way to manage your AV and not block your own tools. Well, the problem is the threat actors are leveraging that knowledge and going after your clients using those same tools. And unfortunately, at that point, there's not much that person can do unless maybe they unplug it. Being able to have the team that manages the SentinelOne environment, it's knowing all the buttons to push, the levers to pull, the compensating controls that need to be put in place. So we work with your team directly on that. I have regular meetings. We have onboarding meetings as you're first getting going. We're covering what's going on in your client environment, the tickets that are important but not necessarily urgent, follow up, explaining kind of the why behind some of it. We're also giving you information on some new attacks like the callback phishing. So what should you be doing? What are we implementing in order to prevent that in your environment? What best practices, what configurations should you be implementing on your Office 365. We work very closely with your team on a very regular basis.
Well, it's super simple. As long as you're an MSP and you manage your endpoints directly, as long as you're cool, trustworthy, it's a short call, 10-15 minutes. Learn more about what your goals are. If you're open to a member-oriented environment where you share these leverages to lower your costs and increase your margins, which is the name of the game, then we can open some doors for a lot of other MSPs.
We were getting outreach from our clients to assist with completing cyber liability policy questionnaires. It sort of hit me in the face that, wow, we got to sharpen our pencil here. Got familiar with EDR, MDR, XDR, as well as email security, and essentially from the basis of the insurance company's questions, what their policy price would be. I got right to work on figuring out what we need to do to level up and answer yes to all these questions. And so I went through the traditional channels. I didn't even stumble upon the MSC. Thankfully, one of the members reached out to me on LinkedIn and said, hey, just want to introduce you to this group, might be a fit. So I looked at MSC on paper and I thought, if this is real, I'm getting goosebumps right now thinking about that moment, because I'll tell you, it has been frankly a saving grace for me as a small MSP. This business is not getting any more easy to run with the risks that we share with other companies. They were quoting 3 to 4 times the monthly recurring per endpoint price for some of the licenses we're getting from the MSC.
We're doing all of the monitoring during business hours. We're using my help desk people to help with user problems and also watch this console. And because of that, we had a couple instances where we missed, somebody, they dismissed an alert because they thought it was a false positive, and it turned out it was really an actual compromise that was underway that we needed to take action on, or something happened on a weekend and we didn't get to it till Monday morning. And if we would have caught it earlier, we would have saved a lot of time. So we were in the process of either building our own SOC, hiring a bunch of people and working 24/7, or using some of the outsourced options that are out there. And I really hate that ecosystem because those companies tend to be difficult to work with, and I have to commit to a long time frame, a long term, and I just couldn't figure out a option that was going to be cost effective for us to move forward. So when I heard about this, I'm like, that's exactly what I'm looking for. It's going to take a lot of that worry off my plate. It gave us a bunch more capability and protection. And then Frank and his team in the SOC have built out all these rules that we would have spent I don't know how long developing and working on it. It just was turnkey and already was set up and provided the protection we really were looking for. So it's been fantastic ever since then.
The MSC has a great collection of products that are vetted by the owners and then vetted by the MSC and then rolled out not only with great pricing, Fortune 1000 pricing, but it's that process that ties it together. So that in itself, so when we were stoked, and once it was implemented, it was fine in a couple of weeks in my client base that we had end users that they were victim of the MFA buyer, and the users get confused. They go ahead and put their code in there, and little do they know they just gave it to a bad actor. So that really helps us sniff out what's going on, like at a true level in our client base, to really stop the problems before they come. I mean, we don't want to be, SentinelOne's a great partner, and we love all the things that they've been talking about and what they demonstrated, but I don't want to have to use them until we have to use them, right? So we don't want to have to roll things back, but so if we can catch that before things happen, that's where it's been very instrumental to us.
the vibe and the energy with the collective and the knowledge that we gain off each other with no agenda. This isn't mothership trying to force feed us a new tool. This isn't somebody trying to collect a check on some monthly dues. It is so cool to have this group of people. I've made lots of new friends and learned a lot.
This has been just such a wonderful experience that I went from looking offshore to potentially hire someone, from a team to be our 24/7 SOC, to have 24/7 actual bodies that we trust looking at our security alerts 24/7. That's bundled into our monthly endpoint security licenses. Weekly meetings we have quarterly CEO meetings. The SOC operations and onboarding with Frank has been an absolute breeze. Frank, I don't even know how you've made it so efficient. The MSC owners email list, we've been active this week. Like, someone has an issue or an incident or unfamiliar line of business application or something specialty, fire off an email to the group. If someone has the expertise, they'll help. It's been I can't emphasize enough how it not just benefited the company, but frankly and personally as well. If you're a single owner operator of an MSP, the MSC is definitely worth a look.